We all know about the world's biggest sphere that made headlines this past month upon opening and lit up the entire Las Vegas skyline. But did you know there's another sphere that's been planned by MSG, very similar, actually a little bit bigger in terms of total capacity on the interior, the MSG Sphere in London that I'm going to be discussing, breaking it down. Is it happening? It's coming out now that a lot of locals in Las Vegas are pissed off at the Sphere, the amount of light it generates, the pollution. It is remarkable. And also, they show weird images. Apparently, it's till 11 o'clock at night. Now, in Vegas, that can work. On the Strip, it makes sense. It's a party area. The nightlife is crazy. But does it work in Stratford, which is where the proposed next sphere would go? Now, first, breaking down the current MSG Sphere that recently opened. This project was announced by Madison Square Garden Company all the way back in 2018, and it called for an 18,000-seat auditorium that was initially scheduled to open in 2021. But of course, construction was suspended in April of 2020 due to the disruption in the project supply chain caused by the pandemic. Construction later resumed that year, and the Sphere is officially, the interior of it, set to open on September 29th, 2023. It is the largest spherical building in the world. There's a little bit of confusion about it because when they initially lit it up back right around the 4th of July, everyone thought that it was open, but the interior still needs work to be done. It's officially opening the interior in late September, and that brings us to the next MSG Sphere that is virtually identical, although it is possibly going to have a bigger capacity, built in Stratford, East London. MSG has also said they intend on planning and building other spheres around the world. I would imagine you would look at a place like Dubai, although knowing Dubai, they'd probably try and build their own sphere that's like 5 times bigger. This was a crazy project in terms of expense, right around $2.5 billion. But let's take a look at the current status. The MSG Sphere London is what it's called. It has not been officially approved, and the interior of it would seat just above 17,000, but this one, unlike the other one, would include a lower area, a bar area, that could potentially house an additional 3,000, making the total capacity 21,500, which is a little bit bigger, kind of more like a basketball arena in terms of the capacity there. Now, it's interesting what we've seen happen with the Las Vegas Sphere and the people warning London. You can see it's like building a sun on Earth. Las Vegas locals are warning Londoners over the capital's new concert venue, shaped like a glowing orb the size of Big Ben with 36 million lights. Madison Square Garden Sphere in Stratford advising display was approved, but there are people that do oppose it significantly. There's actually a little Twitter account, Stop MSG Sphere London, and there have been some recent news on it talking about it being put on hold. That was 6 months ago. And I just want to say the Sphere can definitely work in a place like Las Vegas, although some of these people, they're saying it's so crazy. You can see it from 2 miles away. It's so bright. The light pollution is immense. It can still work because with Vegas, everyone's out partying. It's 3 a.m. There's still a lot of commotion. I don't know about Stratford, London. I think they have to be very, very careful in terms of the location of this. Is it close, to residential areas? Apparently, there's rumors that they're going to turn off the Sphere at 11 o'clock at night. They run advertisements on it, things like that, and then they turn it off. MSG also plans to build a smaller 1,500 capacity venue inside the orb. I believe that's the only real difference they want to do to the one in London. It's going to have an extra little area. When you compare the spheres in Vegas and London, they are virtually identical in terms of their size, their interior seating capacity, things like that, outside of that little extra area. but MSG also plans to build in other places. I don't think this is going to happen. I know the project did gain planning approval in March of 2022 from the LLDC. The next steps included a review by the Mayor of London and a legal planning agreement. In February of 2023, the scheme was put on temporary hold, and that date in February 2023 was before they lit up the Sphere in Las Vegas. And now that they have, there is significant opposition to this entire project. There's also the idea, and it is very expensive, of making an NBA arena modeled like a sphere to where it's lit up on the outside and the interior of it is shaped. Because if you look at the interior of both of the MSG spheres, all the renderings, the ones in Vegas and the ones in London, you can see it's like a theater type thing. The seats do not go all the way around. Could you imagine if they had seats going all the way around in a circular formation with different decks and then the NBA basketball court in the center? How crazy would that be? The problem is these things are ridiculous. It costs $2.5 billion for an arena. I mean, there's just no way they would build an arena type thing in London for $2.5 billion unless someone else was funding it like MSG. That's the only way that would happen. And MSG wants this to be like a tourist thing to where it's not only going to be in Las Vegas, it's not only going to be in London, it's going to be all over the world. They're going to have 7 or 8 different ones, and they're probably all going to be around the same size, but I would imagine eventually they would scale them up a little bit. And the capacity of them is very impressive. I mean, 17,000, 18,000 for an arena with maybe even a smaller area beneath, you know, with an extra 1,500 in terms of capacity. So we'll see what happens with this London one, but it seems like at this point they're really swimming up water with this project, and a lot of the people in and around the city where this is possibly going to be going are not impressed and not happy with it. And MSG might have to go somewhere else if they want to build other spheres. Although I will say it is super impressive. It depends what they display. Sometimes they display really weird things with the Las Vegas one, but just in general, I mean, that is the first thing you see. The thing has a complete digital exterior and it's a circle. It's just crazy to look at. And that's why it went viral. You know, I talked about this project as a big time mega project in the United States back like 7 or 8 months ago, and then it goes crazy viral when they start showing all the photos of it. So we'll see if the next one goes up in London, but it has been delayed now for about 7 months, and I don't know if it's going to happen, especially with the reports coming out of Las Vegas. The locals saying, I mean, if you're in London and it's a residential area near it, not only are you going to deal with the light pollution, you're also going to deal with the noise of it and how loud it is depending on how late some of those shows go, because it is going to be where musicians perform. You know, I'm sure 18,000, you're kind of pushing it with comedians, but it's more so like a performance auditorium and kind of like a theater thing. Go watch one of those plays, stuff like that. And then we have this, and I feel like people get this $5 billion moon-themed resort. People seem to get this and the Las Vegas Sphere confused because they do look very similar. But this is the idea of mimicking going to the moon with an active lunar colony. It says, however, the biggest adventure and most unique aspect of the development is its active lunar colony. Spread over 10 acres, guests will be able to explore the wilderness using a moon buggy from the sum of $500. This is 500 times less than an actual trip to space. The circular monorail-style moon shuttle will transport guests around the facility and back up to their accommodations. It's supposed to be a hotel as well with around 4,000 people. You could stay on the moon, right? That is crazy. And they plan to open it in 2027. But at this point, it has not broken ground. It is supposed to be made from glass, steel, concrete, and carbon fiber. There is another planned moon resort that's going to be going up in Dubai as well, but I would say this one in Vegas, it's getting confusing. You've got a giant moon and then another sphere. Imagine the sphere changes to a moon, and then you've got just 2 moons in the center of Las Vegas. Is that what it's going to become? I don't know. This one hasn't even broken ground. We'll have to see. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.